Has FIFA already handpicked the 2026 World Cup winner? Because what just went down in Atlanta between Argentina and Egypt has the entire football world in an absolute meltdown. It was so blatant, so deeply unhinged, that Egypt's manager, Hossam Hassan, walked straight into his press conference, refused to play nice, and dropped the most explosive quote in tournament history: "I will say what's on my mind regardless of the consequence. This was clearly a rigged match and the whole world saw it." And I want to say one more thing. If they want Argentina to win so bad, why call everyone to come and participate? We were witnessing pure history on that pitch. The Pharaohs were on the verge of their first World Cup quarterfinal appearance since 1934, completely outplaying the defending champions. Holding on to a hard-earned 1-0 lead after a shocking early header, Egypt launched a lethal attack in the 58th minute. Mostafa Ziko buried a clinical strike into the net to put Egypt 2-0 up. The stadium exploded, the bench cleared, and an ultimate tournament upset looked completely locked in. Then, the video booth rewrote reality. In one of the most devastating interventions in World Cup history, Egypt's 2-0 cushion was systematically wiped off the board over a microscopic contact 100 yards away on the opposite end of the pitch. They claimed Marouane Atia fouled Lisandro Martinez at the very start of the sequence, deep in Egypt's own territory. But look at the rules. Under IFAB Law 12, a challenge is only a foul if it's careless, reckless, or uses excessive force. This was a negligible foot-to-foot clip where Martinez clearly exploited the minor contact to buy a whistle. Yet, because of a massive loophole in VAR protocol, officials traveled back in time to scan the attacking phase with no clock or yardage limits. The timeline shift completely broke Egypt's destiny. The goal was stripped away, forcing the match to stay at 1-0. Even though a relentless Egypt fought right back to score a valid goal in the 67th minute to actually make it 2-0, the damage was done. If that original 58th-minute strike hadn't been erased, Egypt would have been coasting with a monumental 3-0 lead against the world champions. Weaponizing a foul this soft to alter a knockout game is a total disgrace to the spirit of the sport. While the system was weaponized to destroy Egypt's dream, the strict lens completely vanished when Argentina needed policing. The refereeing consistency entirely evaporated the second the underdog threatened the crown. Two critical fouls on Egypt went completely unchecked. A blatant jersey pull on Mo Salah inside the penalty area was completely ignored by French referee François Letexier, allowing Argentina to instantly launch a counter-offensive. The world champions stormed back with 3 goals in the final 23 minutes, capped by an Enzo Fernandez winner in the second minute of stoppage time to break Egyptian hearts. But this late-game tragedy wasn't where the match engineering began. When you watch the entire picture unfold, it becomes painfully obvious that the tournament organizers are desperate to engineer a massive Argentina versus France rematch for the finals. They need the television ratings. They need the global corporate ad revenue. And the establishment will tilt the pitch as much as necessary to ensure an African underdog doesn't ruin their multi-million-dollar entertainment script. The blatant favoritism started almost immediately in the opening minutes of the match. Egypt shocked the world by executing a flawless opening sequence, taking a very early 1-0 lead to completely rattle the defending champions. But moments later, the referee practically handed Argentina a lifeline on a silver platter by awarding them a highly questionable penalty. Let's look closely at how that sequence unfolded. As the Argentine attacker managed to get goal side and tried to reach a loose ball, the defender's leg came across. Under IFAB Law 12, a penalty is technically the correct call if a player trips or attempts to trip an opponent inside the area. But the real question is whether this contact actually tripped the attacker, or whether it was simply incidental contact between two athletes running side by side at high speed. The Argentine player fell to the ground the exact moment he felt a touch, and the official couldn't wait to point to the spot. Fortunately, justice was temporarily served because Lionel Messi missed the penalty completely. The Egyptian goalkeeper pulled off a fantastic save, marking Messi's second historic penalty miss in a World Cup tournament outside of shootouts. It was a massive, emotional let-off for an incredibly brave Egypt squad, but it set a dangerous precedent for how the rest of the afternoon would be policed. This asymmetrical micro-policing is where the trap was truly set. The referee didn't just alter the scoreboard with massive decisions, he systematically dismantled Egypt's defensive mechanics through a continuous stream of minor, tactical whistles. Throughout the entire middle phase of the match, every single 50-50 challenge in the center circle was automatically penalized if an Egyptian player showed any physical intensity. If a defender stepped up to intercept a pass or anchor the midfield, the whistle blew instantly for a soft infraction. This relentless, one-sided enforcement completely broke Egypt's transition game, forcing them to constantly defend deep inside their own territory while allowing Argentina to sustain structural pressure without ever risking a turnover. The structural bias directly engineered the late-game breakdown. When the match crossed into the final 20 minutes, the psychological scars of having their earned cushion deleted completely paralyzed the Egyptian backline. In the 79th minute, when Christian Romero found space to header home a cross to make it 2-1, the defenders were visibly terrified to contest the aerial duel. They couldn't play tight or use standard physical leverage because the officiating crew had already proven they were looking for any excuse to reward the heavyweights. 4 minutes later, when Lionel Messi struck the 2-2 equalizer off the underside of the crossbar, the back line was practically playing with their hands pinned behind their backs. The tactical breakdown wasn't a failure of coaching. It was the logical consequence of a refereeing standard that stripped the underdogs of their right to play physical football. The raw human cost of this tilted framework was exposed immediately after the final whistle. Forward Mostafa Ziko, the man who did his job flawlessly by putting the ball in the back of the net twice despite the system fighting against him, completely bared his soul to the global broadcast. Standing on the pitch in total despair, he refused to hide behind safe corporate platitudes, stating, "The referee is unfair. God is sufficient for me and the best disposer of affairs. He's wasting the effort of an entire nation. The cup is being given to Argentina." When an elite professional realizes that tactical execution, physical preparation, and an entire nation's sacrifices mean absolutely nothing against a predetermined corporate agenda, the integrity of the competition is completely dead. Zico's words pulled back the curtain on the internal reality of this tournament. The pitch has been structurally altered to ensure a blockbuster, multi-million-dollar finale. Hossam Hassan backed his players completely by turning his post-match media appearance into a total indictment of the establishment. He made it clear that the concept of respect and fair play was entirely absent from the pitch. By dropping the ultimate bombshell, declaring that he is completely boycotting the rest of the competition and will not watch a single remaining minute of the 2026 World Cup, Hassan exposed the tournament as a highly engineered television product rather than a sporting event. He chose to protect his team's dignity rather than validate a compromised system. This calculated execution cannot be allowed to stay hidden beneath polished mainstream media highlights. We need to expose exactly how the rules are being applied selectively depending on the name on the front of the jersey. Share this video with every single football fan you know. Blast it straight into your group chats. Send it to your friends across all platforms and smash that subscribe button right now. On this channel, we are tracking every single tilted whistle, every biased video review, and all the raw realities the billionaire broadcasts refuse to analyze. Stand with the underdogs, protect the authentic sport, keep the passion alive, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video.